going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys another recap. We had politics as usual on Friday, and then yesterday on Sunday, we did have Monopoly 2 from the Riot, the video today, based around that event, recapping it. Obviously, Tay Roc and Eyez is the main event, the big draw, big matchup, and then a pretty decent undercard when I predicted it. Those were some things I was looking forward to. There is one battle that lived up to the hype in a bit of a different way than I expected. But there's a few that didn't, and then obviously there was the bet life system. There was the judging system in place so people could bet on the battles, which led to really one of the more disturbing judging systems that we've seen in battle rap, which I have more than a few things to say about, but we'll get there when we get there. As per usual, man, I'm not going to talk about like the one round. I think it was the MSS3 one rounders that went down. I was watching basketball while they were playing in the background. I'm going to just call it what it is. I had some things going on. But we're going to start from the bottom of the main card with DI the Hennyman versus Ally the Mayor. And for an opening battle, I thought it was definitely okay. I had said going into it, I thought Henny and Mayor, we're just going to have a real talk fest. And I noticed on commentary what they were doing on the Riot is they had the two battlers go on to commentary right before their battle, chop a little bit of shit, and then they went and had them battle. So it's kind of like a little pre-conference. And then after the battle, every once in a while they take them in, kind of talk on commentary afterwards. So a little bit of a system there that I didn't mind. But the battle itself, Hennyman very clear to 30 in my opinion, to be perfectly honest with you. Although I thought the first was like fairly close, but this one was all about Hennyman. I thought Mayor was going to be able to take advantage of just being not necessarily at home, but on your home league on the Riot, where you battle more than a few times. And I didn't like Hennyman versus Snake Eyes or Hennyman versus Justice that much. But this one was totally different than that. He outpunched him, out-real talked him, especially in the third, did a little bit of angling and even legacy talk. And Mayor's last two, he didn't flat-out choke, but you could tell he was freestyling, cut both of the rounds super short. So Hennyman really cleared 2-130 to start the night. From there, I believe that the next battle was Eyez versus Don Marino. As lopsided as it was probably going to get prediction-wise. And I will say there was a little excitement in the first. And I thought this could happen. Don in Florida, it's a home game. And even if he doesn't have a chance to win, if a battler's battling at home, he probably is going to be a little more confident to get certain material off or at least put a great round together. And that happened to be Don's first. It kind of reminded me of, even though it's different teams, it doesn't work perfectly. But the way that the Lakers and the Nuggets have been playing, Don won the first round from Eyez. I thought Eyez first was good. He put that pressure on, that 15-point lead early where it's like, wait a minute. But then, the script plays out the way that you would think. Eyez second, great. His third, angle-heavy third, talking directly to Don. And then Don, similar to what Eli did in the battle before, just sputtering out. He doesn't flat-out choke, but freestyles and cuts the round so short. Might as well have choked. You know what I mean? You're making the round so default to get a victory over. So, very good start from Don. I had him edging the first, so some people giving it to Eyez, but I thought he had a great start. And he just doesn't have the firepower to keep going with a talent like that. So, Eyez 2-1-3-0, however you called it. Real easy win. So it was two quick ones. Not bad battles, but just regular battles, you know what I'm saying? Clear winner. Somebody on the other side didn't do that great. And then you get into a battle that moves me. You know what I'm saying? First of all, Billy Boondocks versus Chef Trez did not go down. One round battle. I don't think it was like make or break for the card. You know what I mean? Chef just battled on Friday. One round doesn't go down. So you jump over that to Yunus and Franchise. Yunus and Franchise, a battle that a lot of us were looking forward to going in. Out of like the undercard, everything besides Rock and Reward, we thought it had the most potential. Franchise has been a little more active lately. He was doubted by a lot of people, including myself. I did not think that Franchise had the same firepower outside of Toronto as he did in a 2019 or something for that instance. And Yunus is the number one rookie, and he's already had a good showing on the Riot. So a lot of things were, up in the air. And from the first round of this battle, you could really tell what type of battle it would be. Franchise's first is very good. Punch-heavy content, which is who he is as a battler. But throughout this battle, he has more of an all-around game than I think any of us gave him credit for. So really punched his way, even a little bit of that real talk angling at the end. I know that some people were unhappy with the bar. He said, your pops is dead, and my mom's told me my pops was dead when he was still alive. People were saying he confused Yunus' situation for Appa's, you know what I'm saying, and if they were getting right after him. I thought that the rest of his round was pretty fucking great, that it doesn't all predicate on that one bar at the end. But I did like the bar. You have to deduct some points because it wasn't perfectly tailored, right? It sounds more like a bar that would go for Appa than Yunus, but give him some points for landing it, and the rest of his round was really, really good. I thought Yunus's first was really good, and I think the difference between their first is more of a punch-heavy approach by Franchise, and Yunus shows you the difference between punches and pen, because Yunus had a lot of witty lines. The way he delivered it was more of like pen-centric. You had a lot of bars that were going over people's head, but you did have a lot of complexity set up leading into the wordplay at the end of the bar. I thought Yunus's writing was very sound. I think it's a very debatable first. We'll come back to let me talk about the other two rounds because they're really clear, and we'll come back to the first because clearly that's the round that has the most to talk about. Second round is the best round of the night. Franchise was incredible in his second. Real talk, flow switching. I think he had a rebuttal at the top of his second. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember if it was a good rebuttal, but I think he did. Obviously, the punches angled a little bit at Yunus too. It's really one of the better Franchise rounds you're just going to see. And Yunus had a good second. Yunus really didn't do anything wrong. He was just in the front of a round that just outpowered him. And then in the third round of the battle, I did give that round to Yunus. I thought Franchise was still pretty good in the third round, but I thought Yunus finally, energy-wise, got where he needed to. Landing haymaker-wise, got where he needed to. It was matching Franchise in some of those categories that he was getting outdone in. I thought this was also the part where Yunus did the talk to him, rap straight through, talk to his soul, career breakdown of Franchise. My favorite thing he does every battle. I think it's a separating factor for him, and I'm going to say it every time because I think it's so goddamn fire. But I thought that he had that tailored third. So Franchise with the second, Yunus with the third, although Franchise's second is round of the battle. And it does come down to that first round. Now, it is a judge battle, right? And listen, the judging didn't get crazy by this point. We'll talk about the judging. But I thought the judges judged it fairly. Franchise got a unanimous 2-1. It was just one of those where I do think the first is close. And if there was no judging, it probably would go down as debatable. But if I have to, I thought Franchise hit higher peaks, which I'm always big on, like haymaker-wise, best bars of the round, and he outdid him in those intangibles, the energy a little bit, kind of performance, barking on him, and that's something I expected Yunus to flip on Franchise, for Franchise to kind of subvert expectations, the guy who's just been a puncher his whole career, to have the angles, flow switches in his battle, and all that creativity. Got to give him the most props. He was an underdog in this one, and he went on to win 2-1 unanimously, 2-1 in my opinion, and was the performer of the night. So then we get into the final, back half of the card, and this is where really more of my critiques are going to come into play. I want to say quickly, Capo versus Shotgun Suge did not go down. I guess Suge no-showed. Capo cut a crazy promo saying he's running, he's ducking, I flew my people out here, where the fuck are you, etc., etc. So you know how that goes. That doesn't go down. And Geechi versus Loso is next, but I have more thoughts on that. So quickly going to talk about Riggz versus Snake Eyez. I didn't think it was that crazy of a battle. I saw some people calling it every which way. I saw Riggz 30, Snake 30, Riggz second and third, Riggz first and second, Snake first. And, I saw a bunch of different ways. I actually gave the battle to Snake Eyez. I thought, and people gave Riggz the third clear. Maybe I'm tripping. I gave Snake Eyez the second and the third of this battle. I actually edged Riggz the first round. Neither of them were great. Snake Eyez gave pretty much a standard Snake Eyez performance. I thought his second was his best round, his first and his third, heavy on aggression, not the heaviest on content, but I thought Riggz was just kind of off this battle, bar for bar. I mean, he was writing to a bit of a higher level, but he wasn't hitting at a haymaker rate where it made the difference I thought it would going into the battle. Any of his angles that he did wasn't the biggest fan of, and then he did his spell it out letter bars. Y'all know how I feel about Riggz, just spell it out letter bars, man. So some people are going to argue Riggz won. Snake Eyez won the judge vote, which judge vote didn't fucking mean anything, which we're going to talk about in a second here. But he did end up winning the battle, in my opinion, and in the judge's opinion. A pretty solid win over Riggz, right? Now we get into Tay Roc versus Ward and Geechi versus Loso, right? Which are going to be the main stories of the night, really for worse in this situation. We're going to talk about Geechi versus Loso first, because to me, it's the way more egregious situation here. And listen, I don't know how much I expected from the battle going in. I remember when I predicted Geechi to win very clear. Thought he could make an example of Loso. And you look at Loso's first, it's like his first versus Roc, where it was solid, but it was beatable. Jab heavy, some witty lines, but the energy's not there, right? It looked like, all right, he's got 2 battles in one weekend. There's going to be a round here that's weak. And I thought that for sure, all right, Geechi could go and take this first. I'll tell you right now, Geechi Gotti was not taking this battle serious. He didn't take it serious in the first round. He didn't take it that serious in the third round. He took it a little more serious in the third round, or in the second round. He took it a little more serious in the third round. And even then, he was still freestyling all over the place. There just wasn't too much care. You could tell in the first half of his first, he was freestyling. And he landed a couple little jabs, but the pace is off, the energy's off the same way. And if I got to judge the first, neither were that crazy, like I said, but somebody was trying. Somebody landed some battle rap lines, and the other one freestyled all the way through his fucking first. So I got Loso in a default-ish way winning that first round. Not the craziest, but Luckily for Loso, someone whose rock battle he wrote uphill. His second is good, and it's just punching back to back. I think he had a C-section bar in there that I really liked. Angled a little bit, brought his energy up. His second, good. A little 8 out of 10 round, right? Geechi goes in the second. He's freestyling even more disorganized. I mean, he almost choked really midway through his second. He was repeating so much, and he lands a couple of things here and there. What do you say? Like, your mama, something about single mom, like, she ain't the only one that had to suck it up like a vacuum. What are we doing? What are we doing? Loso clearly won the second. I don't want to hear no conversation about this and that, the West Coast Clips argument that we get. Loso was up 2-0. Wasn't the craziest Loso. He had a better performance or his rock, I'll tell you right now. But he was up 2-0, bro, because Gotti's not giving a fuck. And then you get to the third round. It's the closest of the battle, I'll say that. Loso gets to angling again in the third. Has a round that's somewhere between his first and his second quality-wise. And while Geechi once again freestyled, I will say, he put a couple more haymakers together this time around. I mean, like, you could still win freestyling, but I'm not just going to give it to you because you barely put it together. His third was actually powerful, and by the back half of his third, I thought he might have gotten back into some written material because it was that smooth of a round. So I still edged the third to Loso, in my personal opinion. I really thought that he won the battle, but the third could go either way. If you give it to Gotti, I don't think that's that crazy. What's crazy is you go to a judge vote, where they've been announcing all night before the battle. Gotti would tweet, like, the judges, Quest, Daylight, 40, and Chilla, or some shit like that, right? With the fan vote as the fifth judge. But you look at this nastiness, like, once they got on commentary. So the fan vote had Loso, I think, like 65, 61%, which is crazy for Loso when a fan vote over Gotti like that, right? And then a judge had Gotti. So it was like, whatever. And they went to the judges. They pulled up Jay Murda. Jay Murda was one of the judges. Dog, Jay Murda was so fucking drunk. I mean, just so clearly inebriated on camera. If he had a breathalyzer, that wouldn't say no decibel, no number. He would have blown into the breathalyzer, would have looked at it. That shit would have said, go home. Like, he's not in no condition to be judging whatsoever. I don't even think he watched the battle. He started off with, first thing, just so everyone knows, I watched the battle. I walked out at the end, but just in case anyone tries to discredit me, like, brother, no one said anything. What, is that the guilt? You know what I mean? Like, drunk as hell. I don't even know if he watched the battle. And they asked for his decision. He don't got no answer. He's sitting there silent for like 15 seconds. He's like, yeah, I got Geechi in that one, man. I've seen better Losos. Get the fuck out of here, dog. I mean, like, I've seen better Losos, but I've seen a lot better Geechi Gottis. I'll tell you that. It was ridiculous. So now it's 2-1, right? On the judge, like, one judge had Loso and the fan vote or something like that, and then two of them had Geechi. It was like 2-2, and it came down to the last vote. It was supposed to be Tone Bro. I'm like, we're safe. Tone Bro is going to save us. You know what I'm saying? One of the more credible judges that we got. Apparently, Tone was outside, so they just switch it. They're just like, nah, Tone not judging no more. However the fuck that worked. So they throw Deadass talking, who had been commentating for the event, and he had even said before he had Geechi winning, but bro, look, you can look at his answer when he said he had Geechi winning. He didn't even feel comfortable getting thrown on the spot like that. He's like, yeah, we'll see what the judges say. You are the judges now. There is no we'll see. Look in the mirror. It's your decision. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And I'm not one to say robbery. You're not going to see that a lot in this channel. But in broad daylight, they robbed Loso. It's disgusting. Why fucking bet if we're just going to vote for our friends anyways or the more popular battler? It was ridiculous. Loso won the battle very clear. And it might be more of an extended rant. You're not going to hear me say robbery. For those of you that have watched me for a little bit now, you're never going to hear me say robbery or unfair, this and that. But that was completely a fanned out or friendship result. It was ridiculous. I mean, really, it was egregious. You can't not hide it any more than that. At least because it makes you think, if you're just switching judges like that, those 4 judges that you're claiming for the other ones, did they really judge it? Did they really watch it? Or did we just throw out a result that made sense afterwards? Who fucking knows? And that leads you into the main event of the battle, which is Tay Roc and Eyez. And I'll be honest, it's not a bad battle. They did pretty good. But for a card that's built around this battle, this is definitely, if you look at it, I mean, the card's solid, but it is all built around Tay Roc versus Eyez as that, number one piece. And it had great potential, and it definitely just didn't reach great. It wasn't an ass battle, but I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. Which for this level of battler is just not good enough. And it was kind of light on both sides, but I thought specifically on Roc's side a bit, which surprised me because I expected both of them to give their best. They both battled. Roc has 8 battles, right? Booked already, but I think it's a 6 or 7. And then Ward, granted, he had 30 to 40 clear days of prep leading up to this where there was no other battles. But even he battled 4 or 5 times this year. So I thought this would be their best material. And it was neither their best material. And I think you look at the first, Roc just punched straight up all 3 rounds. In a lot of battles, he does that. But get the flow switches in there. Maybe a little bit of comedy. Has one round that's great, like his second verse Bill, you know what I'm saying? Even his first verse Loso on Friday, where it's powerful. He didn't give you that. He just gave you 3 solid rounds. I thought the first, he was good, but I thought Ward was just a bit better. I also thought Ward really showed he was better all around a bit in this battle. More on the performative side. He's obviously able to rebuttal and freestyle, which in a monkey battle like this, the rebuttals and freestyles actually did make more of a difference than they usually do. They usually give you that little head start, but this time it gave you a couple key haymakers or bars that you kind of needed to create that separation. Angled a little bit, punched a little bit himself, even schemed a little bit. I just thought Ward had a little bit more in the first. They were both kind of light, but I thought Ward was better. You go to the second round. Roc's second is better, but it's marginally better. Still just punching back to back. Ward flips, A flips. What was the one? Circle around A. He had this Angels logo bar that was really tough, like circle around A. I'm forgetting a few portions of it, but he had some stuff, but it still wasn't like haymaker, like powerful Roc, even second round Roc. Ward's second, in my opinion, is the best round of the battle, and I thought Ward clearly won the second round. I can't remember the whole Bible reference, but he said something about sin, and then God went and threw Roc at me. I thought that shit was crazy. He had a couple rebuttals at the start that I thought were pretty dope. Oh, also, I'm late to it, but Roc had a bar in the second, fire on the horse like Rapidash. Love my Pokemon shit. I thought that was pretty hard, but I keep saying Loso, I'm confusing the Christians. I thought Ward had more. He just clearly had more. So I had Ward a pretty comfortable 2-0 up. And then Roc clearly takes the third round of this battle. It was a dip from both, but I thought Roc kept, not even a dip, I thought Roc kept that 6, 7 out of 10 consistency. He wasn't that crazy, but he was consistent, while Ward went from having 2 pretty good first, I guess pretty good. I thought his second was good, but his first was and then his third is his worst round. So Roc clearly wins the third of this battle, but after you saw Geechi and Loso, was it ever really like a question that Roc was going to win the fan vote? So he went and won it 3-1. Who judges voted for what? We don't fucking know. We don't know what rounds they picked because it was horseshit. It's ironic. Versus the Horsemen, the judging was horseshit. We don't know anything. We just know that they randomly popped out and started singing Happy Birthday and gave the judge a vote to Roc 3-1. I had Ward winning the battle 2-1 in the first 2 rounds. Comfortably at that, you know what I mean? And I don't think it was the craziest Ward either. I'm not sitting here to say like Ward did fantastic, but I thought Roc was just looked fatigued, bro. Like he didn't choke, but material-wise, this is not as good as the content that he's rapped for many of these battles leading up. So the fatigue caught up to him a little bit. I thought Ward just had a little bit more, but overall they both could have been better for this battle. And I think that I don't even have the energy to jump out the window and say that like, oh, Ward was robbed versus Roc, because I think that he pretty clearly won the battle, but you can't call everything a robbery. Geechi versus Loso was disgusting. That is a robbery. This one, I got Ward winning. Ward probably should have won the judge vote, but you leave it close enough where if you got someone like Roc, especially considering the run he's on, you know how the judges are going to be and the people are going to be. So it just is what it is. That's how the main event gets wrapped up, and overall, that's how a pretty subpar event, in my opinion, from the Riot ends up. And that is my full recap, and I hate to get up here, really almost get angry at a couple parts of this, but I just think that there's a good avenue where I really like the betting page and like what it brought to it. But if you're going to go and do something like that, you got to have people that are serious. Like when you get judges, it can't just be judges. We just, oh, my friend, pick him out. He's a battler that's here tonight when he's been drinking and having a good time. You got to have people that are coming there to judge, just to judge. You got to have people that's job is there to do that properly, because it's people's money on the line. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for anyone that, God forbid, if you did bet last night, if you took the chance and you lost money, you know what I'm saying, on Geechi and Loso or Roc and War, why would you ever want to bet again when that's what the judging system is? There's absolutely no reason for a normal person to go back to this concept. Why would they take it seriously if you running the event aren't taking it seriously? So I thought battle-wise, if you just take the judging away altogether, it would have just been a standard 6 out of 10 event, you know, something like that. I thought Yunus versus Franchise was just good enough. You get performances that, you know, from an Av, from a Loso, you know, like there is little things to pick away from this card, but when you add the fact that the judging was just fucked, it probably brings us down to maybe like a 5 out of 10 type of event for me. Could even go 4 out of 10, but I thought the battles were decent enough to get it at 5 out of 10. But as you can tell, man, there were some things I'm unhappy with, not just with the judging, but even battle quality. Roc and Ward. Geechi and Loso, granted, a lot of props to Loso for what he did this weekend. Between beating Geechi, in my opinion, but even if it goes down as 2 judge losses, right? I saw people saying for Cody reasons, and no one knows that better for me. You got to give him credit the way that he was doubted going into this. He put up a great fight in both. For some people, he debatably won both. I had him at 1-1 in my personal opinion, but he did what he had to do to make this, in my opinion, an optically successful outing for him. But even Geechi versus Loso wasn't that good. So there's storylines, man, but you've heard my opinion on the event. What's your guys' takes? What Yunus versus Franchise is clearly battle of the night. So how'd you feel about Yunus versus Franchise? How'd you feel about some of these other performances? I'm sure you guys too have some disgusted opinions about the judging. So if you want to come cope, you know what I'm saying, hop in the comments, man. We'll talk it out. We'll slander it a little bit more. But it's been Jay Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Look out for next weekend. We got Trenches and Chrome. So once again, 2 recaps, updates on my Twitter, which will be in the description. We'll be all the way into Battle Rap again next weekend. And throughout the week, we'll drop some videos, right? But as I said, Jay Smo Reviews again, y'all. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.